Hi, good morning, and welcome to my studio. If you're new here, my name is Kim, and on this channel, I love to talk about all things yarn, both knitting and crochet, and I also like to share some other crafty tidbits from time to time. Today's video, though, I've got to get it somewhat decorated for Easter out here. And I keep seeing all the cute Easter stuff in the store, and I know Easter's not till a month away, but I want to get some Easter spring things happening. And then we're going to sit down and we're going to talk about the things I finished last month, because there was actually a good bit. I was kind of impressed. And the things that I'm working on this month, which heavily, we'll talk about that in a little bit. And we're also going to talk about the big stressor that I had last week, because if you saw my weekly post, you saw this week that I mentioned something about that. And I want to talk about that with you and talk about the reflections that I've had because of that stressor and what I plan on doing about it. So I hope you grab your favorite cup of whatever your project, and I hope you enjoy this video, and I just happy to see you. So yeah. I do want to share these eggs that my children painted in 2013. The youngest one painted 3. He was very young then and he just loved to paint. And the oldest one painted that one for me because he knew I love purple and blue. That is cute. I'm ready to talk about some things that I've gotten done and some things I want to work on this month and some things that I've purchased, because it's been a whole month since I put up a sit down and chat to you about yarn video. I think I've done 2 lives since then. My lives are very sporadic because my life is very sporadic and I'm just not in a season of life where I can plan for those really right now. And I'm sorry about that. I want that to change. I always talk about how I want that to change, but if you've ever been in the position of a caretaker, you know that life is crazy. And so that's what's going on. But I do have some things I want to show you. I think I want to talk about finished objects first, and then we'll talk about things I got, and then we'll go into things I'm working on this month, and then I'll talk about what happened last week that just threw me for a loop. And I'll put timestamps down below so you can navigate through this easily, and you can skip sections you want to, or you can watch sections first that you want to, however you want to do it. And those will be in the description of the video. And I may actually put them also in the pinned comment, because I think on mobile sometimes it's easier to access them there. I'll figure that out. They'll be there though for you, one way or the other. The first project I completed for the month is the Angie basket by Megan. Bomber. Now, this is a free pattern, I believe. Yes, it is. And I will make sure I link all these patterns in the show notes like I always do, which can be found under the description of the video. Mine basket used 210.8 yards, which is 248 grams. I used it all. I actually was practicing or testing, I guess you can say, the new Crochet Waves crochet hook on this basket, and that is where I somehow lost my H hook. I have not found the H hook, and if you watched one of my lives the past month, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But I got the new Knit Pro Crochet Waves 2.0 hook set, and I was going to do a review on it, and then I lost one of the hooks, and I lost it making this basket, or right after I made this basket. So that was kind of frustrating. I looked and looked and looked and looked, and I just had to order another H hook to complete my set again. I don't know. I honestly think a crow may have picked it up out of the field, because I think I lost it walking back and forth to my mother-in-law's house. That's why I don't take any of my nice crochet hooks out of my shed or out of my house, because bad things happen to them. But I really enjoyed this project. I color controlled just a little bit. There is like one place there where I saw I was getting low on getting low on yarn, and I just kind of continued crocheting. But for the most part, I wanted to have the colors kind of color blocked. This is Karen Tea Cakes in the colorway Smoked Fruit. And I used every bit of that for this basket. And the reason I wanted to make a basket is, number one, this yarn is at 80% acrylic and 20% wool, but it's kind of scratchy to me. I don't love it. I don't think I could have wore it on my body anywhere. And I did see this really cute cowl, I think, or maybe it was like some kind of, it was definitely a cowl made out of this exact yarn. And I was just, I don't think I can handle that. So the next option was to make something for the house, and I only had the one cake of it, and so a basket was the perfect answer, because baskets I can use. I can use this in the boys' bathroom, and I can put hand towels in this and sit it on the little shelf, or I can put it in my bathroom and do the same thing with it, put some hand towels and put it on the counter, or I can put it by the bathtub and put some towels in it. I haven't really decided yet. Or as I work through my yarn, you may see this down the road sitting on a shelf with some yarn in it, and it kind of hold a dyer or a brand. And that, because I like to separate. Sometimes some of my favorite brands are indie dyers, and so you may see it that way. Or it could just become another cat bed, because I did make that one bed like this when I was doing the hooker versus hooker challenge, and my cats like it, and they kidnapped it. So I don't know. And that was a great use of using up yarn also. But 210 yards out of the stash. This is the seam. So when I was making this, I actually completed all the way up to here on the second day. But the way she has you do the rows, I wasn't loving it. And so I ripped it out and did them my way. And to be honest, if you asked me what I did, I couldn't tell you, because I'm not a very good crocheter. That's why my seam still looks pretty pretty bad. But it's fine. It's going to go in the back. No one's going to know. But I do love the colors, and I that's why I bought this cake a long time ago, is because the colorway. So I bought this yarn. Let's see when I bought this yarn. Sometime in 2023. I think I bought it at Michael's when they first kind of opened. But I really enjoyed the colors, and I've learned over the years I'm very much, I don't want to say boho style, but I'm very much an earthy person when it comes to color and decor. I like natural woods. I like muted heather colors like these. These are more muted heather jewel tones, and I just like a variety of colors, and I just really like how the basket turned out. So now that I have talked about it, I really need to photograph stuff. I'm also, if you've looked at my Ravelry lately, I'm so behind on photographing projects, and that is what I have this basket for. And it's going to be a lovely day today. So when I get done recording, I'm going to go out and do that, because storms are coming to Alabama, and I may not have a chance to do that the rest of the weekend. But moving on to the next project. My second make of February comes with a little bit of a story. I know, it's story time. It's going to be very fast though. I wanted to make the Bankhead hat. This hat has been in my queue for a very, very long time, and I decided to cast it on. So the Bankhead hat has been made over 15,000 and either 500 or 200 times. It's been made a lot. It's like a classic pattern that I think knitters tend to gravitate to. And I'm usually not all about doing the most made patterns, but I've always wanted to make this hat. And so this is my Bankhead. It's very pretty. It's made out of green dragon yarns, and there is a lot of twisted rib, like a lot of twisted rib. But once you get past that, it goes really fast. So I started this on February the 7th as we were on our way to a special little date night, which the husband and I have not had a by ourselves date in over 10 years. It's probably been more than that. We've tried once. I think it was for our anniversary. And maybe I'll tell that story another time, but I want to talk to you about this story. So he had talked with one of the couples at church, and they go every year to a Ruby Falls Valentine's Day special. And what that is Ruby Falls is in Chattanooga, and every year for Valentine's Day, they open up the park and the caves for a special romantic tour. And you get like a little photo, and you have to reserve your spot back in December because it sells out so fast. But the tickets go up in December. You buy your ticket, you reserve your spot, and then you go tour Ruby Tuesdays, Ruby Falls at night by lantern. And there's only 8 to 10 couples in each group, and it's very limited. And there's only like 3 tours a night, and they start at around 8:45. I think we had one of the first tours of the evening. So it's pretty late. And if y'all know me, you know that I'm usually in bed by 8 o'clock. So it was already a long day. But we had actually left and went to Chattanooga earlier that morning because we went to Bricks and Figs, which is this Lego store where you can trade in your old Legos or buy old Lego sets. And we really wanted to check it out. And it was amazing. If you've never been to Bricks and Figs in Chattanooga, and if you're a Lego fan or if you have kids or a Lego fan, I highly, highly recommend you checking it out, and I will definitely leave that link down below for you. And then after that, we went to a yarn store, and I'm going to talk about that store when I get to acquisitions or things I purchase. I can never say the word. And then we met up with our friends for our romantic weekend festivities, we'll say that. So originally we were going to spend the night in Chattanooga, but we realized that there was a toy show locally the next day on Saturday, and our kids love like collector toys like that, action figures. I guess not really toys, action figures. And so we decided not to stay that night. We drove home at 1 o'clock in the morning from Chattanooga so we could get up the next morning and take our teens to the action figure toy show, which they did love, and we did. We enjoyed it as well. We got some good food truck food. But while we were in Chattanooga, we ate at Nick and Norman's. And if you don't know who those people are, Nick is Nick Taro, who is the director or writer, producer of The Walking Dead. And Norman is Norman Reedus, who plays Daryl in The Walking Dead. So we ate at their restaurant, and I had this smothered chicken, and there was this cream corn that was chef's kiss. It was so good. So, so good. My chicken was really, really good. It had kind of like a sweet, spicy barbecue sauce on it, and onions and mushrooms, and it was delicious. And then after that, we went across the street to the Hot Chocolatier, where we had some cake and we had some coffee, and we just kind of relaxed and chatted with our friends until it was time for our tour at 8:45 in the evening. And the tour lasted all the way till like 11:30, 12 o'clock. It was crazy. I did not expect to be. I've never been to Ruby Falls. Well, I think I went when I was a little kid, but I couldn't remember how long it took to tour Ruby Falls. And as you're touring Ruby Falls, they actually tell you the story of Ruby and her husband, who is the guy that opened up the falls as part of their romantic festivities, I guess you can say. I don't know. It was really, really pretty and it was really, really nice. But that's why I wanted to cast on the bankhead in this color, because this yarn is Green Dragon Yarns. It's a worsted weight yarn and the colorway is called Valentine, Saint Valentine. And this is a really old yarn from my stash. I bought this from the local yarn store when it used to be here, and that was in 2016. So this is an old stash yarn. I love David's dye style. David is the dyer behind Green Dragon Yarns. I have quite a bit of his yarns because when she was starting to talk about closing, I knew I wanted to get some of his yarns. Even at that time, he had already really started backing away from dyeing and he started focusing on his photography. And I think he still does photography, but I really loved his dye style. So I have a bunch of his yarns and I also have a bunch of his fiber. He did a bunch of dyeing of roving for spinning and I have a bunch of that as well. So I'm glad I got that because that's an indie dyer that you can't really find their yarn anymore. And that's sad, but I'm glad I got to be part of that experience for him. I really love this hat. I'm not going to try it on right now because of glasses. And as you saw, if you saw my previous upload, I forgot I had on glasses and I tried to put on something and it did not go well. I have gotten better with my glasses though, but I used 210 yards. I used the whole bit for this hat. I don't think there was any left at all. And I love it. I love how it fits. I did go down a needle size for the brim and for the body of the hat just because I know my own knitting gauge with yarn. And I have knit with this yarn before and I knew how it was going to bloom or expand and grow. So I was able to adjust that prior by using a one step down needle. So I love the twisted rib of this and I love the stitches in between the panels of stockinette. That is not reverse stockinette, that's actually garter. So you knit a row and then you purl a row, knit a row, purl a row, and then that's why it looks like that on the inside and not the actual reverse stockinette there. I did go ahead and wash and block this hat. I have not cut out my center string yet. I may actually leave that because I may use a pom-pom on this from time to time. And I have some pom-poms that have like a little rubber band under them. So oftentimes I will leave the tail on the inside after I've woven it in really good. So I can like wrap that in that and just kind of do like a little knot to hold that pom-pom on. So that way when I need to wash the hat, I can easily take off the pom-pom. Or I will actually sew on a button on top and then I will put that little band around the button on the hat and I can take it off that way when I get ready to wash my hat and I don't have to wet my pom-pom because the pom-poms sometimes don't look as pretty when you wash them from past experience. So I don't like to wash them. But yeah, that is my bankhead hat in my Saint Valentine colorway. Another thing about the Ruby's adventure is when you complete the tour of Ruby's, they're waiting there for you to give you a rose. The photo that you get is part of the package, and then you get a stone heart. And they go ahead and have these on the table with your photo. You don't get to choose your heart. You don't get to choose your heart. But I got this one, and then our friends that we went with, they got like this really pretty light green one. But I like this one. I like the texture in the rock, and they're heavy and it's cold. It's so pretty. But when I was also there, I got like another little rock thing. I mean, pan you around. I got a pyramid. I don't know if you can see it right here. That's also very similar. But I enjoyed Ruby Falls. I feel like now we should have a small party because your girl was able to complete Sophie's universe for the month of February. I completed it on February the 28th. I started Sophie on March the 19th, 2016. It's kind of embarrassing, I know. Sophie, my Sophie, had a total of 24 different color yarns in her. She may have had a couple of more, but I didn't take notes on those, and I may have forgotten about them because it was started in 2016. And Sophie is a stash busting project for me, so I was just trying to get rid of a lot of random yarns that didn't have labels. She is all acrylic yarn, and her grand total yardage is 5,327 yards. And if you caught my last live, you might have saw me talking about how I figure up that. And if you want to see that, that's still up on the channel under lives. There's a little tab that says lives, and I go over how I figure out how much yardage I have in a blanket. So I'll lay this out in a little bit and let you see the whole thing. But I love her. The problem I have learned about acrylic yarn, and it's really true with any yarn, that some of the yarn I got really peels really bad, some of my acrylic. And a lot of people I know that like would drive them crazy. I don't care. It just means that I've used this a lot while working on it. And when I was sick and I had the flu a couple weeks ago, it was very comforting sitting under this heavy blanket and crocheting on it when I didn't feel like doing anything else. But I love how my Sophie turned out. I love the center of Sophie so much. I love the colors. But like this really, really vintage pink, this was some really old, I think it was that Sei or something. It was a Kmart yarn. It peels so bad, but it's fine. I can go with a little razor and get some of the stuff off, which I may when I wash it. I haven't really washed it yet, and that is because I haven't really finished sewing in my ends. I know. So bad of me. I guess I'm not supposed to say a project's completed until it's completed, but I have been sitting under it and working on sewing some of my ends in. What I'm probably going to do is keep it out here, and when I do lives, that's what I'm going to work on, is sewing in some of my ends. But you can see I have some ends here, but I have done a lot of them. Let me move the camera and stand up so we can talk about Sophies. So this is the back of my Sophies. I've only got, I think, one end over here left to do. This one, it has several here. And then there's like one here, and then this corner has some ends. For the majority, most of my ends have been completed. And this corner, all the ones basically from this row in the middle have been done. Now, Sophie's is pretty big. She's touching the floor almost right now. I'm right at 6 feet tall. I don't know her exact measurements, and she is the length of my wingspan. It's huge. But you can see all the colors I went with. I love this border, that detail. So pretty. And I did find a little bit more of this really vintage purple. I wanted to use that with a red because I really liked how that turned out. And I used that a lot kind of in the very beginning on some places right here. And I liked how it turned out with that red there. I also used it here. I liked those two colors together, and I felt like I needed to continue that combination on the edge of Sophie, but she is amazing. I really, really love her. So that is 5,200 and something yards out of my stash and into a project. Once I get all of her ends sewn in, I will probably take her inside and launder her. I'm just going to throw her in the wash machine, to be quite honest with you. She's acrylic yarn. She's going to be fine. And then once I get her out, I might work on kind of trimming up and taking care of some of the fuzz that she has accumulated and make her look all pretty. And I don't know if I want to keep her out here or keep her in the house and use her in the house. I haven't decided yet, but I'm super happy with that project. So we talked about Sophie's, we talked about the basket, we talked about the Bankhead hat. I do want to briefly touch on an active whip, and that is really two active whips. One of them is my Eloise shawl. I really wanted to get it done last month, but I really wanted to focus on getting Sophie's off the hooks and not needles, but off the hooks, because it really felt like a weight was off of me to have that huge project off. I'm really trying to go through and complete all of my works in progress, because I feel like once I do that, I can focus more on all the new things. But right now, I just have this huge weight of finishing things. I know a lot of people will cast on or start new things all the time, and then they just have all these whips. I don't like having those. I don't like having unfinished things. I'm a finisher. If I start something, I'm going to finish it. And I've been that way all my life, whether it's sports or a book or anything in my life. I start it, I'm going to complete it. And that's how I am about my whips. But I did get some work done on this, a lot of work. I actually ripped out a lot. So last week when I showed this, or last podcast when I showed this, I was right about here, but I had used some other colors and I didn't like how that was working, so I ripped all that out. Because again, that's what I do. I'm not going to make something just to make it. I'm going to make it because I want to make it and because I want to wear it. And I would not want to have to wear that. So there's no point of working and continuing on with that. So I ripped it out and I did all this. This is where I was the last time I showed you. So from here to here is what I did in the last video. And this is what I done by this video. But I just wanted to show some active progress making way on that. So that is going to be my focus this month, I think, to try to get that whip off the needles. I think I'm going to try to do one of my outstanding whips a month to complete them and work through my whips that way while I'm still making new things. So the next new thing that I'm making is the Genie Beanie, but it's by Crochet Dreams. This kind of had some yarn barf, but this is going to be my contribution for the month of, because I'm a month behind on making hats for Bumblebee Mountain Outreach. So this is my contribution for the month of February. And I started this the other day. I started it Saturday after I had my mammogram, and I made a post on the channel about my mammogram, reminding y'all to get your mammograms or schedule them if you haven't done so. And so I started that weekend, and then I got all the way to here, and then I heard some news, and I kind of just set it down for a little bit. I'm on my decreases, and I'm almost done with this, and this will be a finished object. I just need to complete that. And I'm going to talk about the news in a minute, but I couldn't focus on it at all. Also, other things that I am working on is I haven't finished this book yet. I need to finish this book. Sitting down to actually have time to read is very hard for me, but I have learned that I do love audiobooks, and so I did join Audible again, and I've really enjoyed that. I completed Grandma's Walk, which is the story of a lady, the first lady to complete the Appalachian Trail by herself. And I think it was like 52, and she was 62 years old, and she did the Appalachian Trail all by herself. It took her 147 days, I think, like that. It was crazy. And she left with just a bag that had a shower curtain for her tarp or tent. Insane. Her whole story was documented. She took notes and she wrote constantly in a notebook and journaled. And I love journaling. I love that we now know her story because of that. And it's a really great book. If you haven't listened to it or read it, I will link the link down below. And I encourage you to do so if you like kind of documentary kind of things like that. But it was really good. I enjoyed it. So I did start another audiobook, and that was a book that was recommended to me. And that is called, let me look at my notes because I can't remember anything. It's called The Women. And it was recommended to me by one of my local knitting friends, Shawnee. So Shawnee, if you see this, hello. I just kind of got into that the other day, and I'm really enjoying it. I was able to write the Grandma's Walk on my bookshelf. And this is something that I kind of just drew by looking at a photo. And I'm tracking the books that I read or listen to this month. I haven't finished that book, so I haven't put it on the bookshelf yet. And any kind of book suggestion is wrote here with the person who suggested it to me. So if you like to suggest a book to me, you can do that in the comments down below, and I will put it in my suggestion page, and hopefully I will have time to listen to that next. But those are things that I'm kind of working on actively right now. I do want to talk about some of the things that I've acquired since the last time I recorded. And then I want to talk about some of the projects that I would like to work on this month, besides trying to get that shawl off my hooks and needles. Okay, so I have this cart, and on top of this cart has all this stuff. I do have my Yarnable Club that we're going to be opening from last month. The next month is on the way. I'm probably going to cancel that subscription just because it is around $50 a month, and I have some things going to happen that I'm going to need not to spend that money. And that's part of the thing that we have to talk about last. But when I went on my trip to Chattanooga, oh, look, here's my Ruby Falls photo. That's me and the hubs. When I went on the trip to Chattanooga, I did go into a yarn store. Now, the yarn store is called Chattanooga Yarn Company. And see, all this stuff has been left here, so I can literally sit down and talk to you about it. And in there, it's actually located in a mall. So when we were using Google directions, it kept just driving us around. I felt like in the National Lampoon's, I forgot what vacation movie, because there's like a bunch of them, where they're just driving around in London, and he's like, look, there's Big Ben. Look, there's Big Ben. I felt like that because we just kept driving around this mall. So then I called, and she's like, we're in the mall. But it never would show that they were actually in the mall. It actually kept dropping the pin and telling us they were like on the outskirts of the mall, and we didn't never see them. But when I went in, it's a really cute store. It's kind of small. But there's a really nice owner, and there was another lady there. I don't know if she worked there or if she was just knitting. And I shopped because I wanted to support their store. So I did get this bag. This is actually a Jimmy Beans and Della Q project bag. I love the old snap bags, and I've been wanting to get one of these that has a zipper on the front. This is like a large size, but I like that you have a separate place to put your project and you have a place to put your pattern or your notions. I talk about the old snap bags a lot on this channel. They're probably one of my favorite small project bags, because you can see in them and they're easy to open and close and stuff in a bag, and everything in it will be protective. But this one was made exclusively for supporting your local yarn store, and I really wanted to get one of those there because it just made sense. So I purchased that, and then I asked for a local dyer. Whenever I go to LYS's local yarn stores when we travel, I always buy at least one skein from a local dyer. I want to support that community, and especially that local small business. And so it's easy for me to always just get fingering weight yarn because I can use them in so many projects, and it's really the most used weight that I use is fingering weight yarn. So I purchased this, and this is from Stella Luna Fiber Co. And it's a tweed sock, 438 yards of 85% superwash merino and 15% dongle nip. That's your little woolly nips. And the colorway is Camp Counselor. And I'm thinking I may cast something on with this when I do summer camp with the church kids, because it's Camp Counselor and I'm a camp leader. And so it'd be just kind of fitting. I don't know though. I may take something a lot less involved, like a worsted, but I may cast this on. And so I got in the car, and I got another yarn I'm going to talk about in a second. But then I wanted to go back because there was this yarn right next to it, and I'm like, man, that looks so good together. So I ran back in and got this one so I can use them together for probably a shawl. But this is the same dyer Stella Luna Fiber Co. This is her Merino sock base. It's 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon. This is 400 yards and 100 grams. This is 438 yards and 100 grams. So you get a little bit more yardage with the tweed sock. And this colorway is Mudderer. Murder. But I love both of these. And I love how they look together. I love that one's tweed and one's not. I love the tonals in this of the reds, and I'm usually not a red person. But as I've gotten older, I kind of realized I like red and pink more than I thought I did. But I really like these. So I may just use those together in a shawl or something, or cowl. They'd probably be really pretty also in a brioche. That might be an idea, actually. I don't know. We'll have to do pattern searching for those. But again, that's Stella Luna, and these were purchased at the Chattanooga Yarn Company. Now, also when I was there, I just showed you this. I love Emma's yarn. I got one of Emma's yarn advents a couple years ago, and I just really, really love everything that she dyes. I have several of her yarns. This is a worsted weight yarn. It's 100% superwash merino, 218 yards, 100 grams, and the colorway is called No Place Like Home. And I thought that was really fitting to get on that trip because we were going to stay the night in Chattanooga, but then we realized we really wanted to come home and see our kids and do that toy show the next day with them. So this is definitely a memory yarn also because of the name and how it fits into that whole adventure. But the colorway is just so stinking pretty. Look at that yarn. Like, I just don't even, the little spots and specks, it's going to work up to something amazing. It's called the Beautiful Wearable Worsted, is the worsted weight base that she used. But I don't know. Like, I just love it. I just love it. I may have to make a hat out of this so it can be a visual when I wear it. It's just so pretty. It kind of reminded me of my favorite fingering weight hat, and that is the Midas. And I used some Undead yarns in the wood nymph colorway. I love that hat. I love the the color variety in it, and I think that's kind of why I was so drawn to this one. So those are the things that I purchased at that yarn store. I wasn't in there long because we had to make our appointment for our dinner reservations, and we had no idea where we were going, so we wanted to make sure we had plenty of time to get there. But it was a really fun weekend, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed going over with my husband, and I enjoyed that we both just love our family and wanted to come home and sleep in our own bed with our cat and get up and take our kids to a toy show the next day and eat food truck food because it was really good. I found my other yarn club. I thought I lost one. So I have two yarn subscriptions to open with you. Yeah, right. We're going to go with this one first. I think it's the oldest. Okay. So I do love my Yarnable subscription, and it is going to be sad to get out of it, but I really need to focus on paying things off, like my glasses. So this is the month of February. This is Cupid's Bow. Again, I'm not going to scratch off the discount card because I'm late using it. And this is Verona, Italy, famed as the setting of Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet, receives thousands of heartfelt letters addressed to Julia every year. That's a cute fun fact. And it just has where you can learn some more information about the kit. And on here it has like another little tidbit about Valentine's Day. Interesting. So there's the cute card. Look at the cute little Cupid guy and the lamb. And there is the code to scratch off that I was supposed to use by the 28th. Oopsie. Also, I love how they sign who packed your package. We're going to open the yarn second. What is this? This is a Love to create and sip. Try the Plum Deluxe Tea. So there's a card to try out some tea or to order some tea. I have plenty of tea. I got another one of these. I love these pouches. I actually ordered 50 of them and made little things for the girls at church. But they're really nice to use. I don't know what this is. This is probably going to get really crinkly because it's in this hard plastic, so I apologize. This is a little silicone pouch. Oh, and you can like push it through and tack it to a bag. Oh, it's like a little silicone pouch with a thing. This would be great to put in my backpack to put my AirPods in because I don't like leaving them on the outside of my bag. But if I just put them in my bag, I always lose them in my bag, and then I have a freak out moment thinking I lost my AirPods. So I can attach this to the zipper on the inside, and they can have a little case so I don't lose them. So I do appreciate that gift a lot. There's more stuff in my little pouch. There is, oh, it's a little heart tea infuser. That's cute. Look at the little heart tea infuser. So pretty. Love these. I do a lot of loose leaf tea. And then also in here is some coasters, and they're heart coasters. These are from Kate Aspen. Share your memories with hashtag Kate Aspen at kateaspen.com. There you go. Let's open them up. I'm probably going to leave these out here. I love how they're tied with a little bow, and they have like a little heart stamped in them. It says love. It looks like it says love on all of them, but that's cute because I'm constantly like walking around with my coffee out here and laying it down, and I need coasters everywhere. So I sometimes don't pay attention, but I do love those. So obviously this month is the month of love. I may have to try out some of the tea. I don't know. We'll see. We'll look at that another day. So this is the yarn for the month of February. Oh, that's really pretty. It has those malls. Look at that. It's a great match. Oh my goodness. This is called Cupid's Bow. Remember, I did talk about how I got the DK weight yarn. And this is the plush DK, 85% superwash merino, 15% nylon, 246 yards, 100 grams. She gives a really good put up in her DK weight yarn. It's plenty to do a hat or a pair of mittens in. And I can also pair it with another DK weight yarn and make something bigger, but I really like this colorway. It's subtle. It's got these blurts of this mauve color, but I love that. Ironically enough, I'm on the hunt for some ink for my fountain pens in this mauve color. I love this purpley mauve color, and I've been trying to find a very compatible ink, fountain ink color. If you are a fountain ink person watching this, and you know of a colorway that's very similar to that in the ink, let me know down below because I've been trying to find one. But I really, really like that. So let's open this one up as well. So let's open the goodies first. We are going to scratch off this discount today because it's still good. So I have a row counter. Hang on. Hold the phone. What is this? It says yarnable.net. This is cute. So you can hang this on your project bag or your needles. I think that's how she displays it. You can hang it on your project bag, or you can like put this on the needle when you get done and mark there what row that you're on in your project, because it has these little beads, and then it has this really cute little butterfly at the end. That's cute. I like that. I'm not doing a project right now that has rows that I have to count, but when I do, I will use this. I have some other row counting jewelry. Maybe one day we'll talk about some of those things and how I keep up with the rows. But I do like this a lot. It's super. I love the butterfly. I love butterflies. So that was in there. And then I have, what are these? Healthy Hands. Coming and going clean. Lavender infused towelette. So 2 hand sanitizing wipes. Those are great because I constantly pick up everything lately for whatever reason of people. So I will take those in the house and put those in my purse. And then, oh, this shipment had a sample of tea. So I can use the previous shipment's little tea infuser and drink some of this tea. This is white tea. It has caffeine in it. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. It's called Butterfly Effect White Green Tea. White tea, green tea, butterfly pea flower, peach pieces, mango pieces, apple pieces, lemon peel, blue cornflower, calendula, peach mango essences. It's a really pretty tea. You can see the mango. That's going to be good. Put that in the bag to go in the house for sure. And then I have the what's in the bag card. So I'm going to read some of the fun facts. One of them is butterflies taste with their feet. Special sensors on their feet allow them to sample nectar and decide which of spring's fresh blooms are worth a visit. Interesting. So now let's scratch this baby off and see if we won a good discount. Obviously, I cannot share the code with you because it's the Yarn Club members and I have until the end of the month, but I did get 15% off my next order. Well, that's going to go inside. Not that I need to spend money, but I don't know, we may have to take advantage of that. I may need a stress purchase. And so I'm hoping this has a lot to do with the same colors. I can see a peekaboo right there of the color. But the yarn for this month, oh, that is super pretty, is called, March Wings of Renewal Plush DK. And it's the 85% superwash merino, 15% nylon, 246 yards. But I love the blues and greens. This may actually be what I need to use and cast on something for my trip in the summer with the kids. So I can, it looks like the ocean water. It'll be a great yarn for me to use while at the beach. It's really pretty. Really, really, really pretty. Oh, that's super pretty. I'm sure I can find a DK weight hat cast on. I just love that. And again, this is the Yarnable Yarn Club. So there's the 2 yarns I got for the month of February and then the month of March. I was going to cancel it like this month and not renew for the month of April, but each month she puts up a sneak peek and she got me. She got me good because the sneak peek was a cat and I love cats. So I naturally had to be like, okay, I'm going to hang on one more month and then I might cancel. So what I did is I let this month renew and then I actually skipped the next month's shipment. So I'm hoping it's nothing really amazing. And then they'll give me a whole month to think about if I do want to cancel or if I just want to renew. I don't know. I would like to get some more DK weight yarn though from her. I don't have a lot of DK weight in my stash. And so I would like to build that up because I have a lot of fingering weight. And I'm really not wanting to buy yarn a lot anymore. I want to use what I have. And these are one skein projects. So there's still a lot of hats I want to make. So that's why I'm considering maybe letting it go another month after that. I don't know. We'll have to see. But let's talk about why I'm even considering canceling that subscription. So as I kind of do a little tidying from today's video, I want to talk about what is going on. So if you saw my post that I put up on Monday of this week, where I was a little sentimental in the choosing of the patterns for this week's free pattern giveaway. I had attached a little story to that pattern post talking about my Papa Charlie and how when I was little I was sad or I'd get hurt outside and get a boo-boo. Papa Charlie would load me up in this really old truck and we would drive downtown to this. It used to be a really, really old gas station. And when I say old, I'm talking like about the vintage gas stations you see with like the round gas pumps. And it was made into like a little convenience store. And they sold bulk food items and stuff that they would get. This was like 80s, okay? So we're going back in time. And one year they had like a bulk purchase of Cadbury eggs. And I remember we walked in, there was just all these boxes of Cadbury eggs. And Papa Charlie bought me like a, I think it's like a whole case of Cadbury eggs, but I got a lot. Or maybe Mom was with him. I don't remember. I just remember going in there I remember Papa Charlie used to always take me in there, and Greenie would get mad at him for taking me and buying me candy. But he spoiled me a lot. And I remember going in there and getting the Cadbury eggs. And that's what kind of sparked this egg pattern post that I put up. And so these patterns, the links to these patterns can be found on my post tab on my channel with other posts from the past Mondays of free patterns. But I was kind of like in this weird headspace because the last photo I put on my community tab, I think, was me getting the mammogram, or maybe I put that on Instagram or somewhere, and encouraging other people to go and get their mammogram. And so that was on a Thursday. I started that Genie Beanie on that Saturday, or maybe it was that Friday. And then that Monday, we went to church Sunday. That Monday, I was over at my mother-in-law's house sitting with her. And it was like the last couple hours I had to be there, and my cell phone rung. So I answered the phone, and it was my doctor's office where I get my mammograms. And she was like, "Hey, we saw something on your mammogram. We need you to come back in for another mammogram and a sonogram. Don't be alarmed, but we want to make sure that, it is not cancer." So, a little side history note, I do carry the BRCA gene. I think I carry both of them actually, A and B. I had testing done several years ago. It's been many, many years. I had my first mammogram when I was 35, 34, and you're supposed to get them starting at you're 40. So I've had them for quite some time. I'll be 45 this year. So almost 10 years of mammograms. And probably 5 years or 4 years, no, 5 to 6 years of having MRIs about every year. And this is the first time they've ever found anything. And my heart sunk. I'm sitting there with my mother-in-law. I couldn't get emotional. I didn't want to like scare her. So I had to call my husband and be like, "Look, I have to go back in for another mammogram." So my appointments that were given to me as options were to come in the next day on a Tuesday, or to wait till Thursday, or to wait for 2 weeks out to the next appointment. And I knew I cannot wait that long because breast cancer comes fast and it comes hard for the women in my family. My aunt was diagnosed in December and she passed away before Mother's Day. So I knew that I cannot wait for and have that stress. So I originally took the Thursday appointment because my husband had planned out the whole week that they were going to work, and we own a small business. So if he doesn't work, we don't have money coming in. And so I made that appointment and he called back. He was like, "Kim, I know you won't be able to sleep," because I would be worried. And so I made the appointment the next day. I changed it to Tuesday. So I go in and I have my second mammogram done. They do a sonogram, and while the lady's doing a sonogram, she pauses and she founds this mass and she takes some measurements of it, and she was just like, "They'll probably call you in for an appointment to go over the findings." And I'm thinking, okay, they only do that if it's something bad. And obviously it kind of shook her a little bit because she was just kind of like her face changed and she was just trying to be very calm for me. And I appreciate that. I really do. But naturally that freaked me out. So that whole week after that, I couldn't knit or crochet. I couldn't focus on anything. I'm just waiting on this call to find out if I have breast cancer. And then what is that going to look like preceding that? As a caretaker, if I have to take chemo, how am I going to have the energy to take care of my mother-in-law, who I have to take care of almost every day in some shape or form? So, and then, about my children, am I gonna be like my aunt? Am I gonna pass away before Mother's Day? So all this stuff was like going through my mind, and then I started thinking about the stuff that I have. And when I pass away, all the stuff that my husband and my kids are gonna have to deal with. And it bothered me. So, to deal with that stress, I decided I needed to purge a lot of things in my life. I needed to purge a lot of extra stuff that's holding me down. I need to purge this wanting to wait and save things to use at a later time because there may not be a later time for me. And so I started this huge purge in our house. I didn't knit or crochet anymore that week. And honestly, I haven't knitted or crocheted since then. And now it's exactly a week and 1 day later, I have been purging, and I've been listing stuff on Poshmark, and I've been listing stuff on my Facebook page for local people if they want to buy it and then meet with me and get it. And I'm going to be doing a big purge of some craft supplies. I'm probably not going to be purging any yarn because I can give that away locally at my Worldwide Knit and Crochet event. And I might do some books and magazines. I have some magazines I'd set up, talked about in the past doing giveaways for, but no one ever claims their prize from me. Like, I don't know why. I'll give away stuff and then I post their name and I post their name and no one ever claims anything. So it's kind of like I don't have time to hunt down people. So when I give something away, I'm kind of like, that person should contact me. And I would love to have time to hunt down people and try to be like, hey, I need you to send me your address so I can send that. But unfortunately, I don't have that. And I don't have that headspace to have room for that. So the last giveaway I did on a live, I gave away a up to $10 pattern off Ravelry. And Miss D, you haven't contacted me about your pattern at all. So I'm going to need you to do that. I'm going to give you until the end of this week. So we'll do Monday of next week. So and the 17th, St. Patty's Day, to contact me so I can get that to you. But I started really going through stuff. I called them Wednesday morning because she was like, we may have the results in Wednesday. It'll probably be Thursday because this was Tuesday when I had all this stuff done again. So I called Tuesday morning and she was like, we don't have any information yet. We'll call you as soon as we find something. Like, great. Let me just sit here like a nervous wreck while you're doing that. So I called again at 4 o'clock that evening and she was like, I think they've gotten in your results, but the nurse is going to have to talk to you. You may need to come in. I don't know. But we'll have to call you and she'll tell you the next steps. And I'm thinking, okay, I do have breast cancer. I was really freaking out then. As we were getting in the truck to go to church, we're youth leaders. So I knew I couldn't have my phone ringing or anything during that time. They called. And praise God that it's not breast cancer. It's just a mass in my right breast. So that means they're going to have to keep an eye on it to make sure it does not become breast cancer. So now, instead of just getting a mammogram and an MRI every year, I'm possibly going to be getting 2 mammograms every year and possibly 2 MRIs every year. So my next MRI got bumped up. I just got the call. That's when the phone rang when I was recording this. So that's my next MRI. So keep me in your prayers on that, please. That has set this whole purging thing. And I'm talking like I am purging so much stuff. I talk about my planner a lot. I've definitely loved this system, Traveler's Notebook, more than Happy Planner. So I'm going to be destashing a lot of Happy Planner stuff, a lot of rings, a lot of covers. I even have some older planners that are unused. And I know some people buy them because they like to reuse them and they buy them just for the covers. And also stickers, Happy Planner stickers. I have like literally a bin that is full of ones that I'm going through. I'm going through every sticker sheet and I'm just keeping like a small bin. I had 2.5 of these containers I'm showing now full of just Happy Planner sticker books that I've collected over the past decade. And I would like to condense it down to like half of one of those, which is a lot. And then I'm putting a lot of stickers also in the sticker book I have that has reusable sticker paper. So I can just put stickers down and take them off and then put new stickers in there. And that's how I would like to go through those. I'm not buying any more planner stickers unless it's something kind of special, more for this style. Definitely not Happy Planner stickers. I just don't use them. And I really don't even use that many stickers in this kind of planner. I will occasionally use some in different things. But even sometimes I just make my own stickers like this. I'll just draw something and then print it out on sticker paper. But the way that I journal, I just don't use a lot of stickers. I do use a lot of washi though. And I like to keep my washi. But as far as stickers, I'm going to be getting a bunch of those. Bunch of Happy Planner inserts, like the pockets and things. I'm going to be destashing a lot of stamps, like rubber stamps. So other scrapbook supplies. and some cross-stitch magazines. I have some really cool magazines I would like to get rid of. But I'm going to be listing probably that stuff in lots. I'm trying to figure out if I want to do it all on Poshmark, but I may actually use my Ko-fi shop, because I do have a Ko-fi account where you can actually, if you don't want to go through YouTube, and a lot of people are starting to step away from YouTube memberships because of the fee that YouTube charges us. So I think it's like 30% of a membership. So I only charge 99 cents a month for my supporters of the channel, and YouTube gets 30% of that, which just adds up. But Cafe doesn't really take anything extra, although I am signed up to be a I forgot what they call it. So I donate 5% of my earnings to keep the website going, because a lot of people use it, and I'm okay with that. I'm already giving away 30% to YouTube, and not to mention even the money they take away from AdSense. But I like to be able to help support those kind of things as well. And I don't have any members there or anything, but there, I'm going to start using that also as like a way for you to have an alternate way to get in touch with me. Because with the coffee thing, you can sign up and you can actually receive emails when I make a post. And so when I upload videos like today's video, I'm going to put a post on my coffee shop, and you can get an email about it and see it. I'm also going to start trying to upload post on my actual website, because I have a yarningforsmile.com website, and you can actually sign up to get emails through there, and then you can be alerted of when I put up a video there as well. Because I have seen several people in my comment section and in messages say, hey, YouTube's not sharing any of your videos with me. And I know they're not, because I can look at how many views I've had on my channel compared to a lot of other channels in the community, and it's like YouTube hates me. And I honestly think it's from when my channel was taken down that the at yarning for a small thing may have been kind of like, I don't want to say shadow banned, but I think for whatever reason that has hurt the way the YouTube pushes my content. And then this channel was taken down for like 24 hours. And sometimes I was getting a lot more views, and I don't know if it's just something to do with the way that my content's being pushed. So the only way I know to help that situation and helping you see the videos is by offering them links on other places, so you can find them through email or through that website. I do post also on my YouTube, my Facebook, when I put up a video in my Facebook group, and I'll put that group link down below. I do ask that if you want to join the group to answer 3 questions. That way I can know that you're a real person and not a bot, because I do get a lot of bots trying to enter the group, and I have been dealing where Facebook has not really pre-approved, but they've allowed people to join that didn't answer the questions and that are indeed scammers and bots. And so I've been trying to go through and weed them out, and I can't figure out how to turn off that Facebook feature, but every post in my group has to be approved. And let me just say, I keep you safe as much as I can, deleting some of this poop that these scammers try to post in the group. And as soon as I see them post a poop post, I remove them and ban them and delete the post, so you don't have to see that. So I like to think that my group is very, very safe. I've never seen any kind of comment that says otherwise, and I always tell people to immediately, if you see a comment that you think's kind of weird, to hit those little 3 dots and report it, and I will kick that person out. And I do have certain words restricted in my group, so it alerts me and puts them as spam, and I can review them if I think that they do not need to be there. So that is some things that I have going on as far as that, getting information out to you, and I hope that it makes it more convenient for you to find me so we can talk yarn. I will also drop my Cafe shop down below in case you would like that. You don't have to subscribe to me and pay money either. You can just follow along, and it's kind of like following on Instagram, and that way you can see the posts and get like email notifications if you want to about when I upload. What else do I have to talk about? I think that's about really everything. I haven't really decided new projects that I want to work on this month. I got to pick out a new hat. When I do, I will share that information on my community it's not community tab anymore, my post tab, and letting you know. My father-in-law has called during this recording, asking me to come sit with my mother-in-law, although I had planned to do that today, so I have to do that now. So just a lot going on, and I never asked for prayers for myself or happy thoughts or anything, but I'm asking for them now because the cancer thing does scare me, and I have a peace about it, but then again, I love my family and I really love my life, and I'm very thankful for my life. And I am not in a season where I can deal with that right now and do other things that I need to do every day with taking care of my family and my mother-in-law. So I want to make sure that stays at bay. But I talked about something about caffeine, about that tea a while ago. So the cyst that I have is a fibrosis cyst, and I was told that I also need to cut back really my caffeine because y'all know I love my coffee. Love my coffee. So your girl is drinking decaf coffee pretty much all day now. I have my first cup of coffee is a caffeinated cup because I just need it. I need that 1 cup of caffeine every day. And then every cup of coffee after that is now decaf. And so I'm just drinking water and hot tea. And I didn't think about the caffeine amount in hot tea. I don't know if it's as much as in coffee. I need to look into that. But just trying to make these shifts in my life to kind of help with these cysts that are forming, and praying that no more form and that it just kind of goes away and it doesn't become cancer. And yeah, that's been my stressor. That is why I've kind of had this emotional roller coaster last week, and why I'm really focusing on just purging things so I can have a lot of time to do the things I enjoy, and like coming out here more and not having so much stuff to deal with. I just want to scale back a lot of things and focus on family and joy. And I hope that you focus on those things as well, because they're very, very important to us. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today and talking about yarn and all the things and listening to me kind of offload some stress. I truly appreciate it. I think that's one of the best things about community like this one is we have each other to lean on to, and it's definitely needed. Have a great weekend. See you in the next one.